Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I'm your president, Wilda Ream, and it's hard to believe that I'm entering my last month already. That's a very mixed reaction, but I'll take it. So let's start our meeting by reciting the four-way test. Please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Rotarians use the Rotary four-way test to guide our actions and our words. The Rotary Club of York is committed to celebrating the diversity and uniqueness of all people, treating everyone with courtesy, dignity, and respect, and we expect the same from everyone we encounter. Embracing diversity and promoting equity is essential for the betterment of our club, our community, and the world. Today, our opening song, God Bless America, and the pledge will be led by District Governor nominee Aaron Jacobs, followed by the invocation by past District Governor Dick Brown, and visitor introductions by Reed Gunderson.
Thank you, President Wilda. Rotarians, please join me. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we gather today in the heart of the city of York, may we all give thanks to those with the vision, fortitude, and leadership to continue the journey toward a more perfect city. We welcome our duly elected mayor here today to share thoughts with us. The future lies before us. This is our hometown. In this journey, each of us is called to the best we can be. We are not called to mediocrity. Very few of us can rise to embrace or call on our own. Let us also remember that while we work toward our own success, it is our responsibility, particularly as Rotarians, to help guide others to reach their potential. Let us be thankful for the opportunities we have in Rotary to work together toward a vibrant community filled with compassion for our fellow travelers, always guided by the Rotary four-way test. May we each recognize in our own tradition and faith the divine guidance that makes all things possible. And may we all say, Amen.
Big crowd today. All right. Good afternoon, Rotarians. I am pleased to have the honor of introducing our guests for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Wilda has welcomed you. Joining us as a visiting Rotarian from Ludlow, Vermont, Wendy North. All right. Guest Ivan Benny. Guest of Walt Tilley, Donna Pulo, guest of Bob Pulo, Gary Graham, guest of Elliot Weinstein, Susan Crawford Charters, guest of Jane Schuessler, Dan Whiteley, guest of Steve Whiteley, Chuck Kinney, guest of Scott Thomasy, Sully Pinos, guest of Sterling Dunlap. Rachel Schwain, guest of Ashley Zimmerman. Austin Ramsey, guest of Thomas Caltagirone. Kylie Farrow, guest of Tom McCracken. And Michael Walker, guest of our speaker.
Guests, we're so glad to have you here with us today. Whether this is your first visit or you're back again, it's always a pleasure to have new faces in the room. If what you see here today resonates with you, we'd love to have you consider becoming part of our Rotary family. Rotarians, please help me welcome our visitors. You may be seated. And now for our announcements this week. The Membership Engagement Committee will meet on June 8th at 8 o'clock on Teams. The Communications Committee will meet on June 9th at noon on Zoom. And the PPE Committee will meet on June 10th at 8 o'clock on Zoom. Congratulations to President-elect Doug Berman, who officially obtained empty nester status. His youngest daughter, Ashley, got married this past weekend. Both of Doug's daughters graduated from college and got married in the last 12 months. There is a lot to celebrate in the Berman household. Maybe take them out to dinner. The Membership Engagement Committee extends congratulations to two longtime members on their 50th anniversary as members of our club. What an achievement for Dick Brown and Bob Pulo. Thank you so much, Bob, for being here with us today. It's been a pleasure getting to lunch with you. And now, well, actually, they both joined the club on June 2nd, 1976. Yeah, that's, well, yeah, I'm going to move on. So make any age comparisons. And now our executive director, Lynn Morrison, who is counting down to retirement, has a committee update for us.
I'm not counting that hard, Wilda. So I'm glad to speak with you today in Doug Berman's absence. He's resting somewhere, of course. So last week, you heard President Wilda talk about the progress we've made with our strategic plan over the last 6 months. It was pretty remarkable. I thought a lot of the work we were getting done. And during those remarks, she did note all the hard work that our committees are taking in undertaking the strategic plan. Our committees are basically the engine of our club and so vital to support the work that our club was doing and our impact in our community. You know, one of our strategic goals, and I circled it up here, is to enhance and improve our member engagement. And part of that is getting more people in our club deeply involved in committees. A lot of you serve on committees, a lot of you serve on more than one committee, but some of you are not involved in committees. President-elect Doug Berman has already challenged our membership and the committee leadership to increase the level of activity and impact that our committees have in the coming year. We need you. If you currently serve on a committee, thank you. We will carry over the committees that you are scheduled and serve on right now automatically to next year. You don't need to do anything. So thank you. We're just going to hope that you're going to continue providing support to those committees you've already been engaged with. If you're listed as a member on one of the committees, but you have not been active for some reason, your name shows up on the committee list, but you never show up, you don't go do anything, and you don't do anything. I want you to think to yourself, can I commit to becoming more engaged this year? We need you. But if things have changed and you want to stop saying you're involved with that committee, if you're really not able to be involved with the committee, please let me know and or your committee chair. We understand things happen, your commitments change, your interests change, and your availability can change. But if you're not on any committee right now, why not? I know this is what everyone says. I'm so busy. I'm just so busy. Are you busier than the person to your right or the person to your left sitting at this table right now? Maybe. Are you expecting everybody else in the club to do all the hard work of our club and you're not contributing in any way? Are you just a lad or a lady who does lunch? Does that meet the four-way test? I will ask you that. If you're looking to get involved in a new committee or a different committee this year, that'd be fantastic. We need your help. Doug is asking all of you to rise to that challenge. Some of the committees that could use your help are meeting services, people who help us with how we have our meetings every week. Mike Lowe, where are you? Mike Lowe would be happy to talk to people about meeting services today. We also need help on any of our service committees. You know, we have a lot of good things planned, and if you want to be part of shaping what we do to enhance and impact our community, you're needed on a committee. Please let us know. If you don't know how to sign up for a committee, that's not an excuse. Ask me. However, earlier today, you should each have received an email asking you to sort of undertake this same discussion that we just had. Respond to that if you want to be included on a new committee or add a committee or change committees, and we will get that going for you. This is important to the success of our club in the future. I might not be here in a few months, but I know that each of you are going to continue to be involved in the deep work of providing good work in our community. We need you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. And again, as I said last week, the real work of the club gets done at the committee level. So our club cannot do the work that we do and can't have the impact that we have in the community without your involvement and your engagement. And now, past President Josh George has a new member to induct.
Thank you, President Wilda. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to introduce a new member today. This will be my last chance to do this during her presidency. So I'm sorry that you'll have to see me during Doug's presidency as well. You know, he asked me if I wanted to continue, and I said, "Do you want me to continue?" And I expected him to say no, but he didn't. So I was very surprised. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Fritz Schroeder. Now, many of you may know Fritz with his work in the community, both here in York and in Lancaster. He's also been here at our club a couple times over the last few months. So it's nice to have him as a member of the club today. He went to high school at McCaskey High School in Lancaster and went on to the College of Worcester, where he earned his BA in sociology. He is the president and CEO of the Lancaster Conservancy, and his community service includes serving as a board member for We Conserve PA and also as a board member for Partners for Environmental Stewardship. His hobbies include managing the family's tree nursery, and I think the conservancy work and the tree nursery work probably go hand in hand, and I'm sure he would be happy to sell you something from the tree nursery. So by all means, talk to him after the meeting. His hobbies also include golf, racket sports, and live music events. He is married to Mary. They are the parents of Ezra, who is 23, and he is proposed for membership by Sean Kenny. Ladies and gentlemen, Fritz Schroeder.
Things are falling apart here. Well, let's do that first. Fritz, we're so happy to have you join our club. You're now part of a community that cares deeply about making a difference right here in York and around the world. We're excited for the energy, talents, and perspective that you'll bring, and I know you'll find meaningful ways to get involved, join a committee or two, and I hope that you'll build some lasting friendships along the way. So please help me welcome our new member, Fritz. And now, past President Jody Keller will introduce our speaker for today.
For those of you old enough to remember, I used to tell jokes, but I don't anymore. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. No, I'm here with the real pleasure of introducing our speaker, Mayor Sandie Walker. You saw the information on Sandie in the announcer, but I will tell you a couple other things that she, of course, was sworn in 2025. And so she's new to the job. She's lived in York though since she was a little girl. She's 1 year old coming from Rochester, New York. Um, she has really lived her life dedicated to service. And we're pleased that you're continuing to serve York. Actually, she's real tall. I didn't know that. And maybe you all knew that, but I thought she had on heels, but no, she's real tall. And one other little known fact about her, she likes to skydive, and it sounds like she's a risk taker, which I believe makes her perfect for the job. So now, welcome, Mayor Sandie Walker.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think I'm a little bit too much of a risk taker. So I'm finding out a couple months into the job. But it's a pleasure to join you today, and I am going to give you an update on my time here, first year as mayor of the city of York, and it has been an adventure so far. So I look forward to continuing to serve to the best of my ability, and I look forward to all the collaboration and partnership through many stakeholders throughout York. All right. So I'm not going to go into the history of how I made the decision to run for mayor of the city of York. But once I made the decision, I knew I needed some wise counsel and support. So I reached out to Eric Mincer, and that was last summer. Wasn't sure if he would say yes because he had recently retired. But I asked, would he be willing to help form some type of senior advisory committee so that we could have a path moving forward once I took office? And he said yes. So thank you, Eric. And throughout last summer and throughout the fall, we developed our advisory committee, and we interviewed stakeholders from all of the locally elected officials to business owners, nonprofits, as well as residents here in the city of York. And from their input, we developed our core values, which will lead my administration over the next 4 years. Our core values are transparency, collaboration, communication, employee engagement, professionalism, accountability, and customer service. Those are what we were able to form off of the feedback, and they were common throughout everyone that we talked to. When it comes to the core values, I wanted to make sure that if we were to develop initiatives, we would be able to connect and correlate, and to make sure that all of the staff throughout the city of York, as well as residents, were able to understand our core values as a priority, but to also make sure that in our services, we were able to implement various initiatives. And so for this year, we came up with the catchy phrase of 6 in 2026 or 6 in 26. And throughout my tenure as mayor, we'll add one. So it'll be 7 in 2027, but we'll keep the core of 6 initiatives and add as we go. So for us, the priority has been and will continue to be getting back to the basics of city service. There was a lot of frustration, and there continues to be frustration. And when you serve in this position, you deal with the good and you deal with the bad. But we want to make sure that we're getting back to the operations of municipal government and focusing on municipal government throughout our departments with streamlined process, with transparency, accountability, accessibility, and expectations. Public safety and the quality of life is always going to be a priority. Fiscal responsibility. Many of you may know, and some of you may not know, but we are 5 years behind in our audits. And when we are so far behind in our audits, that puts us at risk. That also makes us ineligible for a lot of potential funding. And so we're really trying to reestablish our relationship with the state to let them know that once we are telling them information and meeting expectations and deadlines, they will know through our actions that we are willing to work with them and we want their support. So for us, when it comes to addressing the audits, it is inheriting a lot of the issues that we need to fix. Getting back to the basics, knowing that every day is not going to be smooth. There's never a dull moment, and dealing with the issues as they arise. For the internal capacity when it comes to the operations, it's not that we don't have staff that may not necessarily be qualified, but sometimes when you have individuals, you always want to think the best. And for me, it is people may not necessarily know how to do their job. So how do we provide the supports to increase that capacity for them to do their job? Another common communication that happened before I took office, and still to this day, is that there are many people who want to partner but did not necessarily know how to partner or know how to best support the city of York. And so our goal has been to communicate that the city of York is a partner. We want your business here in the city of York. We want you to live here in the city of York, and we'll do whatever we can to help support you in that fashion. So going to our 6 and 26, you have these handouts at your table. So I'll go through our 6 and 26 and just give you an update on where we are so far. Our first 6 and 26 initiative is Healthy Homes, Healthy Futures, and a Lead-Free York. And for me, it's getting back to allowing our residents to know that we want their homes to be safe. When it comes to lead, we have a significant amount of homes that have lead, and our young children are being exposed to it. So we're partnering with the county. We're also assessing our health bureau and our economic and community development department to see how we can best help our residents, help our renters, help our homeowners so that our children don't suffer from long-term effects of lead. With Habitat for Humanity, we were recognized for 100 homes being built in the city of York. And so we want to continue that partnership because the more homeowners we have in the city of York, the better it is, the more investment that we have. And then when it comes to many as business owners or landlords, we've received a lot of complaints about our permitting process. And so our goal is to evaluate that process and to approve it, stabilize and offer that consistency so that individuals who are doing business with the city of York know what to expect, and our employees know what to expect and know how to implement that. Also with the HARB process, we brought in a consultant from HARB, and we needed expertise in that area, meaning that our staff may not necessarily know what to do when it comes to those guidelines. And then the volunteers who serve on the board may need a little extra support. And so that was a recommendation, and we were able to bring in a HARB consultant starting, I believe, in March. And we've received positive feedback all the way around when it comes to the process, and we'll continue to work to improve. We also will be having an affordable housing roundtable in July. We did have a developers roundtable that went well, and it's more of that partnership message to businesses, to nonprofits, to let them know we want to hear your frustrations, we want to get your feedback, and we want to improve. So we're looking forward to our affordable housing roundtable as well. Our next initiative is empowering neighbors and rebuilding community. So early on, within the first 2 months of being in office, I started to schedule meetings with our existing neighborhood associations. For me, it was reestablishing that direct connection from our residents. And when you hear that direct connection, you're able to address their issues. That shows the community engagement. And it doesn't take much. When you are invited, for me, it was I'm listening and then I'm giving an update of where we are. And if you have issues, we are going to fix them. And so those meetings have went very well. And we've received positive feedback from the neighborhood associations that have invited me to speak. And I believe I have about 2 more coming up. So looking forward to that. We have the goal to revitalize the Sylvia Newcomb Center. If you don't know, there was a city council vote last night that did not pass. So we have to get a bit more creative with how we approach this. We are running out of time with the ARPA money. It has to be spent by the end of this year. So we have 6 months to spend almost $9 million. The reallocation was 4.5, and we had exhausted all of our venues, opportunities, explorations to get to this bottom line to present to council. So now it's a matter of urgency and it's out of our hands as administration. We're going to try to get creative, but council has to be the one to approve that. So Sylvia Newcomb Center was one of the projects that we were looking to reallocate and support. That building has been sitting vacant for over 10 years. And of course, the ARPA funding is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And we don't know if we'll ever get this funding again. So my goal as mayor was to address any infrastructure issues that we have, because if we don't address them now, it will affect taxpayers in the future. So I tried to make that as clear as I could. We will see how it goes over the next 6 months with having to spend this amount of money. We were able to bring back our Citizens Police Academy, which it was wonderful to see residents actually get the opportunity to interact with our police department outside of the normal community engagement. We had a large graduating class, and for me to be able to speak to them, to let them know that we appreciate them and that they are making a difference, and also to let them know that they are the voice within our community for not only our police department, but City of York as municipal government. It was a wonderful opportunity. So we look forward to offering that again next year. Also, for our bilingual community, we're offering safety workshops. And then we are actively recruiting individuals who want to serve on our boards, authorities, and commissions. So we completely revamped our process. City Council had approved legislation last year. We implemented the legislation as well as boosted it a bit. So we also updated our application so that you can apply online. Before, you had to print out the application and then submit it to us somehow, some way. And we wanted to make it easy. If someone's volunteering, we want to make it as easy as possible. So we are looking for members to serve. If you have interest, please fill out an application. Even if we can't fit you in now, we will keep your name on file for the future. Our next initiative is our York Youth Pathway, from playgrounds to paychecks. And if you know me, I have a heart for our young people. And the collaboration between the York City School District, based on our relationships, we wanted to make sure that we continue to push that forward. So we are supporting City of York's First 10 program, which is a collaboration with York City School District, was started with York City School District, and that is focusing on our young people, our early learners, so that we can help support and guide them as they transition for school age. We also supported after school programs, and then we're also collaborating with the school district to hopefully come to a good outcome when we have our crossing guards contract started for the beginning of next school year. We also are supporting City Council with a youth council. Now, for me, it's the importance of teaching civic engagement. The younger you're able to expose a child to some of the issues that are around them, to let them know that they can make a difference, the hope is to plant that seed in them. And then if they decide to graduate from high school and graduate from college, they come back to York, and then hopefully they can become a part of our community. So that civic engagement is important because each individual on a local level needs to know that they can make a difference. On May 26th, we had a partnership with Bloom, YCA, WellSpan, and that was a York Hiring Resource Fair. And that's just part of offering opportunities for that economic improvement within our communities. Grow York Local, small business and big impact. It's been great to connect with business owners. A lot of times, from what I'm finding, and as I was preparing for the office, is that business owners just want you to listen. And if you can help, you help. The frustrations that some of them experience are through the permitting processes, and then some can be more quality of life when it comes to residents and throughout public safety. But we listen, we address the issues that we have, we create those collaboration partnerships. And I think from my standpoint, that positive feedback has been enough to keep us moving forward and also to let us know where we need to improve. As I said, before we hosted that developer roundtable, we had over 50 developers there, and it was that open ear so that they could express how we could improve. And then as we continue to evaluate our Department of Community and Economic Development, we will implement some of those recommendations and suggestions. There was a citywide Bloom Business Grant as well that was just for city business owners. So that went well, and we appreciate all that applied. And then we also will be having a procurement fair at the end of this month. And then, as you know, within the first 2 weeks in office, we removed the wall on George Street. So positive feedback for that. That was a big win, and hopefully it continues to carry me through with all the stuff that's going on now. So we take the positive for that. And not only from the business owners in the area, but the traffic from York Academy that many were experiencing. We haven't received nearly as many complaints as in prior years from what I've been told. So it's affecting everyone all the way around. So we're happy about that. That was our flyer for our small business grant. Our next initiative, of course, Safe Streets, Shared Responsibility. And the goal for this is to continue in the direction of engagement with our community to focus on safety. A lot of times when it comes to safety, there can be negative perceptions with our police department, but we want to show the positive. So we're supporting community engagement. When it comes to the ARPA funds, even when I served on council, we made sure that we were able to support as much as we could financially our police department. So that goes to the drone deployments, which have helped with safety and crime reduction. Our night watch towers, which are throughout the city. And whenever there are unfortunate incidents throughout the city, we are able to mobilize those cameras to move them to various areas. And we're looking to bring in probably about 2 to 3 more this year, purchase 2 to 3 more. They cost about $50K each. Gun violence is down. Unfortunately, in May, we had 2 homicides, but we have been able to address and solve a lot of the issues. So I give kudos to all of our employees in the police department. And then we, as part of just trying to focus and shift out of police enforcement, the Heart and Hearts installation, if you drive past the police station, I'm sure you've seen the hearts there. But it goes for us to share that we all have a story, we all have a heart, and we want to continue to keep our hearts open, even though we've went through so much trauma. And that's what we call it a lot of times in our community. It's the trauma that many have gone through, but we want to continue to show that municipal government and our police department is willing and able to support and work with our residents. Our next initiative, Clean, Green, and Proud, a city we are proud to call home. That's our photo from the day that we removed the wall. Jim Gross isn't in the picture, but he has stepped up to help us out with Public Works, and we received positive feedback when it comes to the department and a lot of the issues that we're addressing when it comes to infrastructure. Already mentioned the removal of the George Street barrier. There was a lighting audit complete for comprehensive plans, expansive public works activation. We did have our pothole patrol, and thank you very much for the positive feedback with the pothole patrol. So we will continue that throughout the 4 sections of our city. And how we operate it is we have one day where residents can call in if they live in that particular quadrant of the city. And then throughout that week, we fill those potholes. So the first initiative was a success for last month. Portland loos should be installed, or they will be installed this summer. They have to be. They were purchased with ARPA funding. So we will have a Portland loo in Penn Park and one in Foundry Park. And then Farker Park grant, that was the largest park. Did someone say, what's the Portland loo? Did I hear that? It's a kind of glorified porta potty. That's the best way I could say it. But it's much more appealing to the eye, as well as there at the bottom, you can see through the bottom as well. So you can see if individuals are in the restroom, and that's more of a safety issue. So if someone's doing something they're not supposed to be doing, you should be able to see it. But they'll be installed in July. So feel free to visit Penn Park or Foundry Park, and then you can see it in person, even if you don't want to use it. But if you're walking around, you know, you have to go to the Portland Loop. Farker Park, that's our largest park project. We had a $1 million grant from DCNR, and this is to support our parks master plans to improve our parks. Again, since the council ARPA recommendation did not get approved, we had about 500K set aside, and we were ready to start improving 3 parks within our city, but that's on hold as well, with the ARPA funding not being approved last night. So as I said before, we have inherited issues. We have our outstanding audits. We're finding various things, but we appreciate all of the support. We do have some key wins. So we have immediate attention to our city finances. We've been able to bring in the Pennsylvania Financial Management Services to help us with the overpay and underpay for our police department. So we're hoping to get to the bottom line within the next 2 months for that. We have had wonderful conversations with the state. I have also had the opportunity to become a board member for the Pennsylvania Municipal League. We are submitting monthly financial reports to City Council, but we still have to implement a financial closeout process on a monthly basis, which hasn't been implemented. And it creates a very difficult situation to deal with because you don't necessarily know what you are dealing with or where you stand financially. So we're taking it day by day, and we're using the support of some of our consultants to help us move forward. We also have developed an executive recruitment task force, and that is solely focused on filling leadership positions. So at this particular time, I am serving as interim business administrator. Jim Gross is serving as interim director of public works. Tammy Bethea is serving as interim director of DCED. And we need to get individuals in those positions. And so we are going to focus on filling those positions with qualified individuals that have the desire to work in municipal government and to help us move forward. We are adjusting policies, updating standard operating procedures, and implementing fiscal and internal control policies, which are either outstanding or do not exist. So we are slowly evaluating and updating policies one by one. Our comprehensive plan has actually been approved by council finally. That was outstanding for about 5 years. So it was one of those things where we needed to, thank you, Kevin. It was one of those things where we needed to get that to council. When you don't have a comprehensive plan in place, you don't have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, you don't necessarily know what you're working towards. So we were happy to present that to council. We had to bring in CS Davison to do one final review of it, bring council to the table to bring them up to speed. And then we took it to council for a vote and they approved it. We're looking to implement some tracking measures when it comes to employee accountability and performance. So it's a work in progress. We're getting there. We definitely have boosted our social media presence. We're trying to boost our employee morale. So we're focusing on our employees, sharing their stories so people will see beyond the actual work, but they see the person that is doing the work. We are establishing cybersecurity policies. Many of you know that there was a physical break-in in 2021, but then there also was a cyber attack last summer. So we had to make sure we brought in consultants to advise us on what we need to do so we don't put residents' information at risk. And then we also have developed our implementation plan for audits to bring them current. We are on track to complete our 2020 audit by the end of July. The only thing we have keeping us from doing that is RDA finances. And so once we're able to get the information we need from the RDA and the finances, then we'll be able to submit this audit for 2020. So as I said, we're 5 years behind. We're trying to move the best that we can. And then overall, we're trying to improve staff engagement and morale. As I said before, we had wonderful meetings with the state and they are open to help us. We just have to make sure we're doing our part. And then we also are looking to partner with the Pennsylvania Economy League to help us with our budget process, our monthly close process, and to increase staff capacity in our finance department so that we can not be in this situation again when it comes to outstanding audits, but also make sure that we're getting submitted the information needed to the state and to the federal government. All right, so a little over 100 days in office. This is the reflection. 5 years outstanding in audits, $12 million in delinquent or defaulted state grants. We have personnel vacancies in key positions. Our human resource information system is new, and it is allowing us to see many discrepancies with employees that weren't paying the correct benefits amounts, fire department employees who weren't getting paid their correct salaries. Of course, I mentioned the overpay with police and the underpay with our police, and we're dealing with it as we go. ARPA funding is at risk at this particular point, as I mentioned. We did what we could do. I thought it would take about 2 to 3 weeks when I first got in office to reconcile ARPA. It ended up taking us almost 4 months. So once we did all that work between Accenture, the consultant, our finance team, and our Department of Econ Dev to make sure we all were on the same page with our numbers and the eligibility, we presented it to council last night. It did not pass. And so we have to find out a way of how we're going to spend this money within 6 months. We've heard a lot about poor customer service, and that will be adjusted. We are working on it. It's the accountability and making sure that staff understand their roles and what they're supposed to do. A lack of organizational accountability, poor morale, we're trying to boost it. And then, of course, I mentioned discrepancies in benefits and pay. So with all that being said, we have to be optimistic, and that's what I'm going to do. So I want to see the opportunity in all of this as I continue to serve. I mentioned that we have our workforce. I know people want to do good. We have to be able to provide them the support to be able to do their job effectively. So that's with guidance and leadership, moving them in the right direction. With personnel vacancies comes opportunities for leadership. And so we're excited to fill those positions and get people in there that are excited, have the energy, and ready to serve the city of York. And the wonderful thing that I always hear is people ask, how can they help? So with that being said, we want to make sure that we support them when they want to invest in the city of York. Millions of dollars will be invested in the future, and we'll do whatever we can to make sure that we keep that business and keep those homeowners right here in the city of York. You know, for me, it's one of those things that I'm a former athlete, and as you mentioned, I'm tall. I played basketball. I went to the University of Richmond. So I always approach it as a team. So we're going to look at our strengths, we're going to look at our weaknesses, and we will continue to work to our common goals of our core values and continue to work to accomplish our initiatives. So the partnerships, the collaborations, the support, I'm open to all of it. So if you want to help, the answer is yes. Email our office. Let us know what you want to do and how you can help, and we will find a way for you to do so. I want you to please save the date. We will have our State of the City address. This will be the first State of the City address in 8 years, and that will give you an update of what we have been able to do throughout this year. That's October 1st, 2026 at 6 p.m. And then, as I mentioned, please reach out to our office. We always love for you to help. We always love for you to support. So you can reach out to JC or David. David, as I've said in many rooms, and JC, they have stepped up to the plate and jumped in above and beyond. And that's the energy that we're looking for when we are filling these leadership positions. And that is the conclusion of my update. So I thank you all for your time. And now I can open it up to question and answers. Yes, sir. I see Jules.
Thank you,
hand up.
Michael. Is this on?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom. Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor Sandie. You've set in motion a process and a committee to plan and a celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. of his life and his living legacy. His 100th birthday coming up January 15th, 2029. You've invited people to get involved. I think Rotarians would be interested. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you, Tom. We appreciate all of your support in helping with this. I know he didn't want to be singled out, but he has stepped up to be co-chair along with Kim Bracey. And so we are looking to dedicate College Avenue and that will be named Martin Luther King Boulevard. It will be an honorary name. So it's the same process that we've done with our honorary street names in the past. And so what we want this to be is a community celebration. In August, March on Washington was August 28th. So we will convene throughout the city of York, throughout College Avenue on that Friday, and we will celebrate. And as we go, we will honor those who have come before us. We will include our young people so that they know their history as well. And then we want it to be a unified, collaborative effort. So we want all stakeholders as part of this. If you are interested, you can please email my office and we will invite you to our next planning meeting. But we're so looking forward to celebrating that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for your presentation. I have a very serious question. As a fellow skydiver who has done it once and will never do it again, how many times have you skydived? And would you be willing to take Jody Keller with you on the next jump?
So I've only skydived twice, okay? But I've skydived in Dubai. I'm kind of extreme. I don't want to skydive like locally. And that's another part of being a risk taker. Don't ask me when it comes to that. I do it out of the country. So skydive Dubai and then in the Maldives. So very, very scenic view from up there. And Jody, you're more than welcome to come with me next time. Yeah, we pick a wonderful location and it's there.
Mayor Walker, a question. Certainly our club has a lot of synergies with the city of York, a thriving York City, a thriving club. Wondering how we can help you and your administration connect with the youth and really engage in that way with our focus area.
I would say if we can have support cross department. So what I'm finding is that there has been so many of our employees operating in their own silos. So we have our police department that does community engagement. They serve our young people in the city. We have our group violence initiative that does community engagement. They serve so many young people in the city. We have our recreation specialist that does youth engagement. They serve many of our young people in the city. So if there's a way that Rotary can help assist us with identifying ways that we can cross collaborate and support with events, that would be absolutely wonderful. We also would love support when it comes to our collaboration as municipal government with all of our stakeholders, but primarily our educational institutions. It's the same thing. I think we find this often that everyone operates on their own. And so we have our school district of the city of York, we have our private schools, and everyone's kind of doing their own thing. So if there's a way that we can identify supports to help education and tie that in with municipal government in the roles, we're open to having that additional capacity and eyes to help us review it, and then open to whatever recommendations there might be, because in the end, our kids win and our city win.
Mayor Walker, I'd like to hear you speak a little bit more about blight in York City. I'm looking at your 6 and 26, and number 6 addresses blight specifically and references something called the Quality of Life campaign. And I bring that up because I think blight and infrastructure is either the most visible sign of either health or distress in the community. And I guess I want to know, how do you measure the problem? What's the approach? And in 4 years, what do you tell the citizens and voters that you measured success based on what you're seeing?
It would be to consistently implement our blight review. So right now, our blight review process is stagnant. At one point, there was an effort, I believe, a couple years ago to revamp the blight review process, but it's been on hold for the moment, at least while I've been in office. And so that, between the partnership, and that's what we have our redevelopment authority for, and I don't want to speak for, I see Mike Black back there, but going through the process of acquiring the vacant lots, going through the process of addressing the vacant buildings to deem them as blighted, and then working with individuals who are interested in investing in rehabbing the properties. My focus would be, or priority would be, for home ownership, not for flip. We have a lot of individuals in our community that want to become homeowners but don't have the necessary resources to do so. So for me, at the end of the 4 years, we would have a streamlined blight review process, and then it would be measured for me by how many actual homeowners that are qualified and that have had a hard time meeting the expectations and the requirements in this economy with down payments, et cetera. If there's a good amount of those that become those homeowners, those people, then I think that would be successful for me. Increasing and improving our relationship with the redevelopment authority. It's as if now the RDA is kind of operating in their own silo. And so Mike and I have had a couple of meetings to discuss how we can improve actually development here in the city of York. And that would look like our vacant lots here throughout the city, actually developing and putting residents there, units there, whether that's multi-unit, single unit, or various row homes, things of that sort. We have vacant lots, we have spaces to do it. And if we can partner to do it with support, we will. Yes.
Mayor, thank you for your service and thank you for being here today. As a former president of City Council, you have a unique perspective on the importance of the relationship between the City Council and the administration. So two-part question. One, what practices have you put in place to improve that working relationship? And two, what can we do to support the decision-making process of City Council?
So thank you for that. For me, as I took this role as mayor, I wanted to make sure that City Council had whatever I didn't have. And so my frustration was when I served on City Council with the past administration is that there wasn't a clear process when it came to submitting information that we would have to vote on. So what we did is we created a council submission form, and it's a two-part. It deals with everything related to a regular legislative agenda. And so our departments, whenever we are submitting items to appear on the legislative agenda, we complete this form. And we worked with Clerk Thompson on this form. So she could give us all the input from her 30 years as a city clerk, and then we sent it to City Council for review, and they agreed upon the form. So that form includes any and every information that's needed for them to make an informed decision for items that are coming before them. And then we also created another internal memo form for late submission. So if you don't meet a certain deadline, then you have to require or request a waiver from City Council. And with that, sometimes those waivers come with limited time. You may have to submit it 2 or 3 days. There were many times when I served on council where we would get these requests and we wouldn't get any additional information to it. And so that was very frustrating. So we worked on the forms. That was implemented in February. And so every time we submit, council has all the information that they need. And then we also make sure that we address any questions in a timely manner to City Council when it comes to any items that will appear before them. So I think we've done a very good job. I'm pleased with it. I always wanted to take my experience as council and just make sure that if I were in this position, that I would be able to provide necessary information to make an informed decision. Yes.
You seem to be off to a good start. Please keep up the good work. What were the reasons that council gave for not approving your ARPA plan, and did they offer alternatives?
So I believe they want the funding to stay in affordable housing. I believe that was more of the issue. There was an attempt at some type of amendment, but the amendments never pass through the rest of council. So there was a motion for an amendment, but the amendments weren't clear on where that funding would go. And I think that's more or less because council doesn't have a true understanding of ARPA and the guidelines and the requirements associated with it. So I believe they want funding to go to affordable housing. The reason why we reallocated from affordable housing was because we didn't have the time. There's a difference between spending money and spending money when there are ARPA requirements associated with it. And so it wasn't feasible after we met with our consultants, when I came into office, wasn't feasible or viable to move forward with affordable housing. And we explored all of the options to do so, but I guess council was not satisfied with that. And so instead of offering amendments and removing everything except for affordable housing, which they could have done last night, the entire amendment failed. Outside of that, we answered all the questions that they had. We had a censure at the committee meeting the last Wednesday in May, and a censure ARPA consultants that have been there since 22. All questions were answered, and everything is eligible according to the scope of work. So I really can't give a valid reason outside of affordable housing.
Mayor Sandie, thank you for coming, and I love your optimism and your smile. You're going to be a great mayor.
Thank you.
Now, my question is that I had was, you just partly answered it. I wondered if the HARPA or ARPA funds could have been used for back benefits. I'm unclear where the budget stands within the city of York with respect to unfunded obligations. Are they completely cleaned up or are they not completely cleaned up? And I wondered if some of those funds could have been used to help backfill.
So the deadline for ARPA obligations was December 31st, 2024. So whatever was approved by 4 members of council at that time, so 4 members of the current council sit, and it passed, it did not pass 3-2. So the 4 members that sat in and approved the final obligations on December 31st, 2024, you can't move outside of those scopes of work. Benefits and back pay are not one of those scopes. So we couldn't use that funding. We're really restricted in how we can reallocate the funding. It's only according to the scopes of work that were approved in 2024. So I wish we could, if we had, so there was a line called revenue replacement where you could do a little bit of anything that you wanted, but that was already expended by the previous administration. So we don't have that flexibility. Our hands are tied. Oh, thank you. Let me put this back up for you. I can get it up there. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Walker, for sharing your vision and the work underway to strengthen our city. Personally, as someone who lives and works in the city, I particularly appreciated hearing about the focus on accountability, public safety, and improving our neighborhood conditions. We know that meaningful progress takes time, and your commitment to creating a stronger, more responsive city is important to all of us who call York home and to our York Rotary Club, because our mission and our vision is focused on the city of York. Thank you for your leadership and for taking the time to be with us today. And I will say you have personally inspired me to up my skydiving game. So I'm going to have to put some new skydiving locations on my bucket list. Or as you know, our speaker signs a book plate to be for the book to be donated. This week's book will be going to the York Day Early Learning Center, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. This week's book is The Octopants and the Missing Pirate Underpants. Did not read that one either. Next week, we will hear from Alexandria Keener Hammond, owner of My Girlfriend's Wardrobe. She is a graduate of Northeastern Senior High School and Harrisburg University of Science and Technology. Alexandria will describe the start of My Girlfriend's Wardrobe in college and the growth from online only to a mobile store to a brick and mortar. Opening the first brick and mortar location in downtown York allowed her to get more involved in the community and see needs in various areas that they could help fill. Her presentation will walk us through the start of the business and the years spent in downtown York while facing the challenges and changes that come with growing a new business. And with that, our meeting is adjourned. We will see you next week.